Welcome to another edition of BDCi's Sporting Weekly. I'm Don Weinstein.
And I'm Natania Levine.
And this week we're going to talk about the NFL's Wild Card Weekend, where we have 4 tremendous games, Natania. 2 on Saturday and 2 on Sunday.
We are just so lucky.
Love football. Love pro football. Thank God that college thing is just about over. But anyway, the first game, Saturday morning, Pacific time here, is actually it's an afternoon game.
Actually, it's an afternoon game, but
all right,
Don's got, sometimes he gets forgetful, so you just gotta, don't fault him. He gets his times confused.
It's really unusual for being so young to have such a bad memory. But anyway, the Bengals, Cincinnati Bengals, formerly called the Bungles, but now they're called the Bengals. They're 9-7. They're traveling to Houston, where they're playing the Houston Texans, who are the AFC South champions at 10-6. And Natania, both teams feature some young superstars. What do you make of this game?
Well, it's the battle of the rookie quarterbacks with TJ Yates and Andy Dalton. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to side with Andy Dalton here. I think the Cincinnati Bengals are going to win this game. They're going to pull out a game on the road. That's right. Cedric Benson is going to run the football. Andy Dalton's going to throw it to A.J. Green and Jerome Simpson. And the Bengals are going to stun the Houston Texans.
You couldn't be more wrong with this prediction, Natania. Basically, the Texans they clinched their division like 3 or 4 games ago, actually playing the Bengals in Cincinnati, beating the Bengals with a third-string quarterback. So I think you have it all wrong. I think Houston is going to wipe the map with Cincinnati. They have a tremendous running attack featuring Arian Foster and Ben Tate. They have the second-ranked defense, only second to the Steelers, who we all know and love. And they're, basically in my analysis of playoff history, which has been for many decades. Unfortunately, I have to admit that. If you have a great running attack, if you have a great defense together, that's gold. That's going to get you deep into the playoffs. So Houston it is for me by a field goal or more. I think it's going to be close. They're 2 evenly matched teams. With Houston down there, Matt Schaub and Matt Leinart. But I think you're going to see a close game that Houston will definitely win.
It's all about the football here. All right, guys. Houston Texans, 9 turnovers in their last 4 games. It is about taking care of the football when the playoffs come around. You cannot have costly turnovers and win the game. I think that Arian Foster's gonna have some fumbles. I don't think he's gonna be able to take care of the football. And I think that's what the Bengals are gonna come out on top. They're gonna take advantage of the turnovers, score some points. Cincinnati's going on.
Well, let me ask you this. Who has Cincinnati beat this year? They've lost to the Ravens twice, the Steelers twice, and of course they lost to Houston on their home field. So I don't think they've really beaten up on anybody but bad teams like Cleveland and St. Louis, and you can check the schedule, okay? I haven't memorized it. But anyway, so that's where Natania and I are different. She's taking the Cincinnati Bengals, and I'm taking the Houston Texans.
You'll just have to watch it on Saturday on NBC to see who is right.
That's correct. And now for our second game of the afternoon on Saturday, we have the Motor City Detroit Lions at 10-6. Traveling down to the Bayou, to New Orleans, to play the 13-3 Drew Brees-led New Orleans Saints. And
that's a good matchup.
It is a good matchup. They've played before this season. New Orleans, they're on a major roll. They've won 8 straight. They've won all 8 games at home. Drew Brees breaks records. I think he broke Dan Marino's.
He did. That record was for a long time. He's a great quarterback.
He is a great quarterback. I'll give you that. He has won a Super Bowl ring.
Who are you taking in this one?
But surprisingly, I'm not going to take the Saints.
What?
I think it's time for another Saints playoff letdown, just like they did last year against the Seahawks.
He's dreaming.
I think this year, Detroit is going to surprise everyone. They're ready to come into their own. They have a great young quarterback. He's only 23, Matt Stafford, but he's equaled or bettered Brees' numbers in the last 5 games. And there's no answer to the combination of Drew Brees and Calvin Johnson. Now,
it's too bad that you just put Drew Brees and Calvin Johnson in the same breath together in your defense, but we'll let it slide. I knew what you really meant to say, but sorry. Drew Brees has his weapons. It's called Jimmy Graham, Jeffrey Henderson, Marcus Colston.
Who?
He's got so many wideouts. I mean, Detroit is going to have an awfully tough time trying to stop all of those receivers.
Well, both teams don't play defense. We know it's going to be a high-scoring game.
Absolutely.
I mean, if there was a theme to this game, it would be defense. There's no defense. We don't need no stinking defense. But in any case, I really think Detroit, if you look at that first game that Detroit played against the Saints in the regular season, where they did lose 31-17 in New Orleans, the Lions were not at full strength defensively. I think you'll admit that. They didn't have defensive tackles Sue, who was serving a one-game suspension, nor Fairley, and they also didn't have their cornerback, Luis Delmas, who all three are going to play this weekend. And I really think Detroit at full strength will. I think so. If you look at that game, without those three defensive players in that first game, they actually won the second half. New Orleans went out to a big lead, 24-7, but they actually
won the second half.
Yeah, 10-7.
You got to play a full game, though. Who cares about winning the second half?
Well, I think what it proves is that Detroit made the necessary adjustments against New Orleans. I think they controlled the clock in that second half. They won on points, 10-7 to me. I know the Saints won the game, but I look at that second half as a real clue as to what might happen this Saturday afternoon.
Hey, they're going to have to win on the road, so they've got a huge mountain to climb, but you decide, Lions or Saints.
All right, so again, Natania says Saints, I say Lions. We'll see. Now let's move into Sunday's matchups, where the first game Sunday is a very difficult game. I think Natania and I will agree that it's a very difficult game to analyze and predict.
It's one of the only times we're going to disagree. We're going to agree on something, but we'll get into our disagreements in this matchup.
Right. Well, first we have the Atlanta Falcons, who are
you like that team?
runner-ups.
You like them?
I like the Atlanta Falcons. I like.
You think they can pull out a road victory?
I think they can. I think they can. I'm actually going to go on the limb and say they will because.
Ooh, why?
Well, because the New York Giants, as we've seen throughout this season, they're a team of feast or famine. You don't know which New York team's going to show up. It doesn't matter if they're playing at home or on the road. You never know who's going to show up. And you know what? If they win 2 games straight, that's a sign right there that they're going to play uninspired ball. They're going to have a big letdown like they did against the Redskins, the Washington Redskins, at home after after the Giants beat the Cowboys on the road. The Giants, there's no doubt the Giants can play inspired ball. They are a talented team when they want to play. And they just don't have the consistency to do it. I'm taking the Falcons to give enough protection to Matt Ryan, to dish the ball off to star receivers Roddy White and Julio Jones. And, of course, future Hall of Famer Tony Gonzalez. But that's not the only thing. Of course, Atlanta leads with the run. They have Michael Turner, who is getting better off a groin injury, but it didn't stop him last week as he mounted like 172 yards against Tampa Bay. So I think Atlanta's going to defeat the Giants on Sunday, and I think it's going to spell the end of the Tom Coughlin era. What do you think about that?
I'm going to have to disagree here. I mean, I'm sorry. As talented a team as the Falcons are, the Giants get to play at home. They're going to bring that same passion that they had in the game last week against Dallas when they beat their division rivals to come into the playoffs. Eli Manning has carried this team. He's going to continue to carry them. Victor Cruz, you can't tackle that guy once he's caught the football. You put it with Hakeem Nicks, Mario Manningham. Okay, they may not be able to run the football, but it's all going to matter is they're going to win because of Eli Manning. They're going to win because they have a great front four defense. And they've got Justin Tuck, Usi Umenyiora, and Jason Pierre-Paul. They're going to cause fits for Matt Ryan. And ultimately, the Atlanta Falcons are going to be able to protect. It's got to be Giants. New York Football Giants, baby. They're going to move on.
Well, football is a team game. Okay, it's a team game. Victor Cruz, outstanding talent. Eli Manning, yes, he's shouldered the team, arguably, this whole season. But you can't win with individuals, folks. I mean, everyone has to bring it every week, and the most consistent team in this game is the Atlanta Falcons. I'm picking the Falcons in a road victory, and they move on to better things.
We'll just have to wait and see. Now going into our final game on Sunday, got the Pittsburgh Steelers traveling to Mile High City to take on the Denver Broncos, the 8-8 team that won. Even though they lost last week, they won their division. Yeah, that's how the AFC West has been pretty much all year. Never really been a clear-cut team. So I think the Denver Broncos are just lucky to be in the playoffs. They don't belong. What do you think?
Well, it may surprise all of you, but I actually agree with Natania here. Denver backed into this one. They've lost the last 3 games, and they lost these games ugly, and against mediocre to terrible teams. So I really feel like the experience of Pittsburgh, the poise of Ben Roethlisberger, Mr. Play Action Fake. It's true they don't have their star running back, but honestly, they can always find a running back in their arsenal, and they have tremendous talents in Mike Wallace and is it Antonio Brown?
Yeah. Are you worried about Ben's ankle though? Is that going to be a problem for him?
But especially if Denver can get to him and hurt him. Yes.
Elvis Dumerville and Von Miller are very good passers, and they're going to be coming after him because they know his mobility is limited.
I know.
Can he overcome it or no?
I think he can. He doesn't have the greatest mobility, but he's Big Ben. He's been there before. His teammates love him. They'll protect him. He'll also probably resort to some short passing schemes, so he's not in trouble as much as you're intimating he will be. And I think that Pittsburgh defense is going to shut down the Broncos. The Broncos have really no offensive threat to speak of. They're going to make Mr. Tebow a pocket passer.
I would not want to be Tebow.
He's really going to have to pray a lot this weekend, folks. There's not enough prayers for Mr. Tebow this weekend. I see Pittsburgh running away with this one. What about you?
I hate to say this, that I have to agree with Don on this one. Our one pick that we're actually going to say, all right, we're both right. Come on. You got with Denver Broncos, I wouldn't want to be Tim Tebow. Come on. The guy's going to have Jerome, James Harrison after him, Lamar Woodley after him, yeah. Throw in a little bit of Troy Polamalu. This is going to be awful, man.
His neck.
And this is without Ryan Clark. The safety's going to be out, but he's got all those guys coming after him. It's going to be a long day. He's not going to be able to use his legs. He's going to have to win throwing. And he's only completed in the last game. He had 6 passes. That is not going to get the job done. Okay, the NFL is a pass-happy league. This is a David versus Goliath matchup, all right? And I
love it.
Denver's just not going to. No, they're not going to do it, and so probably could spell the end for Tim Tebow starting for Denver. He may have to start somewhere else because John Elway certainly doesn't like him.
Well, if you have Tim Tebow's phone number, you may want to call him. He may want to use that whole David and Goliath speech. It worked in that movie Hoosiers.
Yeah, so who knows?
It could work here, folks.
He's going to need all the help he can get.
But if Natania and I are wrong, we're both going to be wrong because we are in agreement.
Who knows? If you guys think that Tebow can keep that magic going, you never know. You're just going to have to wait and see.
That's right. So that concludes our analyses of this weekend's wildcard games. You can catch Natania's terrific analysis and picks on our website, www.bdci.tv. And this coming week, be sure to look for our reporting about who's the best South American NBA basketball player, and who's the best country. Are the Brazilian basketball players better than the Argentinians?
That's quite a question you pose. Yeah, so you really should stay tuned.
We're going to calculate that. We're going to determine that, and we're going to be monitoring that all season long. And so please don't miss it. Look for that on our website. Again, www.bdci.tv. That's it for Sporting Weekly. I'm Don Weinstein.
And I'm Natania Levine. Enjoy the games.